A very good morning once again to Obерстдорф. In fact, good afternoon from Obерстдорф on day 3 of the 2005 Nordic Ski World Championships. David Goldström together with Inge Bråten, a man who in his time coached the top Norwegian athletes to no less than 8 Olympic golds. Well, what we have for you today, centre stage this afternoon, is the women's double pursuit. 7.5 kilometres in classic style, then into the pits to change the skis and the poles, and out for the freestyle skate for 7.5 kilometres. Well, the bookmakers this morning have made Norway's Marit Bjørgen 2-1 strong favourite to take the gold medal. So let's hear her thoughts first on her 10-kilometre bronze. Bronze medal behind Katarína Nojmanova of the Czech Republic.
In the season, I think that I did not start in this race, but I have been in very good shape all the season. So after Rieter-Winkel, I choose to beat on this race, and when I take a medal, it's very good for me.
A real confidence boost for Marit Bjørgen as she prepared for today's double pursuit. Already a World Cup winner in this discipline in Val di Fiemme.
I won in this season, so I think it's possible to take a medal in this one too. And I am in very good shape, I think so, after today. And then I hope gold will have been very fine for me.
The combination with the classical style and freestyle, is this good for you?
Yes, I like it. When I'm in very good shape, I like it better and better.
So a great start for Marit Bjørgen, but today looking for gold. Well, Inge, another very nice day, but a warm one and maybe a difficult one for the servicemen, particularly in terms of preparing the classic skis.
I think so.
Well, this is the sort of temperature we've got today. As you can see, not zero as far as the air temperature is concerned. It's 1.40 Celsius, the air temperature, and the snow -3. Well, of course, this is the double pursuit, and so it means it's a mass start, the first mass start race, and as you see the start list, the athletes coming out onto the arena here to take their positions. The front rank there, Katarína Nojmanova, was even thinking of going home after her 10-kilometre success, but persuaded to go for the double pursuit. I think her daughter, Lucia, is out here, or at least on her way to see mum skiing. Wearing Julia Chepalova, really gutted by missing out on the silver medal that she got by just 1.2 seconds. She missed the gold, but Marit Bjørgen in the foreground there, no problems. Really delighted, Inge, with the bronze medal.
Yeah, and she also liked the courses here in Obерstdorf very, very well. Steep uphill is the best for Marit Bjørgen.
In foreground, Claudia Kunzel, who was unable to start in the 10-kilometre race at the beginning of the championships, and out today, but Jochen Belle, the head coach for the German team, not too confident about Claudia's prospects today. She's on offer at 25-1 from the bookmakers. So once again, welcome to Obерстдорф. Day 3 of the Nordic Ski World Championships today. The women's double pursuit, the first leg on a really tough course, 7.5 kilometers in classic stride and glide style on the Burgstall course. Then the pit stop to change the skis to go out for 7,500 meters skating, the second half and the decisive part of this women's double pursuit. Until now, this race has been in championships terms only over 10 kilometers. This year, like the World Cups, it's up to 15,000 meters. The world's best lined in the front rank with Katarína Nojmanová, already a gold medal in her pocket, and away she goes. David Goldström together with Inge Bråten, and isn't that a magnificent sight, Inge?
Yes, it is, and I think this is the most popular we have in the cross-country skiing at the moment, and we can also see all the spectators more today than it was a couple of days ago. We have more people here from Germany, especially on this Saturday.
Yes, but good number of spectators from all over Europe and indeed the United States and Canada, and some from Australia as well. And as they go up the first climb here, take us through this first loop of 3.75 kilometers, which they do twice on the Bergstall.
And they go directly into a steep uphill where they are just now. We can see a girl from Germany fall. Also number 21 is Confortola from Italy. And the course for the classical technique is much harder than the course for the free technique at the last 7.5 kilometers. And after 1 kilometer we have more flat, and then we have a steep downhill at the end. So you also must have a very good glide on your skis down to the stadium again.
Well, the bookmakers made Marit Björgen 2-1 favourite, and a very strong favourite ahead of Katarína Nojmanová at 5.75 to 1, with Kristina Smegen of Estonia 7 to 1, and Björgen has made a really strong start.
And you also know that the Norwegian Marit Björgen and Hilde Gjermundshaug Pedersen must do a very fast classical technique. Chepalova must be a lot of seconds behind after this first 7.5 kilometers.
Another racer to watch out for, Finland's Aina-Kaisa Saarinen, because classic is her speciality, so she's got to try to go up there and try to get some advantage here. She wears 15 as they start this long climb. It's a really long continuous climb, and there in the centre of your picture wearing 3, that's Marit Björgen. And just going through 17 moving up there, that was Petra Madic, who's pretty proficient also in classic style. So on the right there, you've got Björgen. 2, that's Julia Chepalova. 14 on the left, that's Olga Zabialova. And just concentrating on the file on the right there, looked to be Claudia. Just trying to check whether it's Claudia Kunzel behind Marit Björgen.
We also had Valentina Shevchenko from Ukraine in the 3rd position.
In fact, Kurkina of Russia it was, who's well to the fore, and Nojmanová back in the pack at the moment.
But Chepalova, we know, is very strong in the skating. She's not been very good in classical technique this season. She is already up at the 2nd position.
This is just short of 1,000 meters as they keep on this climb. This is a really tough climb, isn't it, Inge? Because it just goes on and on and on. You're climbing up from, as we said, about just short of a kilometre, and the climb keeps going, in fact, to 1,500 metres from home. So it's almost a 1,500 to 2,000 metre climb.
That's correct, and it's the only climb in this 7.5 kilometers, so it's very important that the good classical will have a lap to the skaters in this uphill.
Now, waxing today, Inge, could be very tricky, particularly on the classic. We're in that danger zone of around 0, and this is the nightmare temperature for servicemen.
Oh, it is, and we usually use the blow wax for this snow, but today we have to use a wax much more soft than we usually use.
What about skis and structure?
That's also very important. I think around zero it's the most difficult snow to wax good skis.
And one piece of news that I must give you, that Verpi Koitinen, who should be starting, but our message is that she's not, the 2001 pursuit champion from Lahti. And this is a replay from the start where you see a little bit of carnage going on here. And as you said, Inge, when we saw it the first time, that's Confortola, who's struggling at the moment. And 70...
It's the girl from Brazil.
It is the girl from Brazil, Francisca Shehazi, if I pronounced that right. But we had the man from Brazil, now we've got the girl from Brazil. So the spectators all the way round this track, and all of the racers commented how they were satisfied with the support they received on the 10-kilometre opening race. But here we get a chance once again to identify Marit Björgen there in the white hat and the red pants, closest to you, still with the advantage.
We get the first timing after 3.75 kilometers when they are down to the stadium.
Petra Madic, you can recognize her, tall racer. Petra Madic for Slovenia, now moving up into second place with that bobbing ponytail. 12 just behind there in third place, that's Larisa Kukina for Russia. And that's a particularly good start by Kukina.
Yeah, and she didn't start at the 10-kilometer skating, so she is in good shape, I think, today.
Now, Marit Björgen, this setting out her stall, the 2-1 favourite, to really put the pressure on in this classic leg.
And they have a gap, David. They have a little gap here.
Yeah, they do, and the whole concept in Marit's mind is to give herself a cushion of advantage when they change into the freestyle skate. And quite surprised that the gap has opened up quite as quickly as this.
And I'm also a little surprised that Hilde Hjelmeshaug Pedersen is at 20-30 meters after the first four. In the Norwegian Championship 3 weeks ago, Marit Björgen had no chance to follow Hjelmeshaug Pedersen. But she has been up in the high altitude. Hjelmeshaug Pedersen has been at home in north of Oslo all time. No high altitude training for the girl.
Larisa Kukina taking the lead now. They've had a couple of double pursuits this year. Maric was 10th and 8th. That's two respectable results. And you can see they're still on the climb effectively here. 13 moving up there, Baranova. 1, that's Nойманова in that second group, chasing hard. And Parucci losing place there, 33, already Storti, whose younger sister Cecile was in action earlier on. Sara Renner, whose husband Thomas Grandi was 5th recently in the Alpine Ski World Championships in Bormio in the giant slalom. Valbuza worryingly off the pace. Elenek there for Sweden also. An awful lot of work to do, and this climb has really sorted them out, Inge.
Yes, we can also see that Kristina Schmigen, one of the great favorites, was more than 15 seconds behind the lead.
Kristina, who is fit and well, but you also have to be very, very clear in your head when you're racing. And maybe Kristina's just got a little too worried and a little too concerned about other athletes rather than just staying focused on her own program.
I think these days she is. We also talked with the commentators from Estonia, and they had an interview with Kristina Smigun after the 10-kilometer skating, and she was not in good humor.
And we need to try and catch up on Becky Scott of Canada as well, the Olympic pursuit champion. But we'll get a check, of course, when they come back into the stadium. And this, the beginning of the famous downward section where Ronnie Ackerman, 24 hours ago, zoomed to victory ahead of teammate Björn Kekaisen in the Nordic combined Gundersen competition. And Björgen back in front now. Kukina's there. Marit's just dropped a little bit off the pace.
We can soon see them from our commentator box, David.
Remember,
it's a little bit interesting who has a good glide down to the stadium.
And remember, they've got to do this a second time. So Marit Björgen still away. It'd be nice to get some close-ups here, Inge. Then we could clearly identify everybody. We've got no timing splits until they come back into the stadium, so it is just a little difficult to pick them out at the moment. So all I can do is apologise. We'll do our best for you.
We have more Russian in the lead, both Kуркина and Baranova Mazolkina in the second and the third place after Marit Björgen down to the stadium.
And Baranova, a definite threat. Wearing 13 today, but that may not be an unlucky 13.
We also have Olga Zabyalova in good position.
Olga Zabyalova, who was 14th in the opening race.
So the Russians are very strong here in the start of this pursuit start.
Actually, let me correct that straight away. She was actually 6th in the 10K freestyle skate. So Zabyalova being as close up as she is now, and remember that she's a pretty decent classic racer as well. Got a bronze in the 15-kilometer classic race in Val di Fiemme in 2003, and you can see there the ranking.
Yatskaya from Kazakhstan is in the lead at the moment.
Olga Yatskaya.
And then we have Marit Björgen, Baranova, Mazolkina, Kуркина, Bекki, Scott also in a good fifth position. Then Olga Zabyalova, Claudia Künzel also number 7, Parucci 8, Chepalova number 9, only 1.8 of a second behind Yatskaya.
And Rийta-Lийsa Lассила of Finland, the best for the Finns in 10th place, at 2.5 seconds off the pace. Rийta-Lýsa, who said that she was not too dissatisfied with her race, but was not too happy about her ski preparation, but nonetheless not too disappointed by her 10-kilometer freestyle effort. So Yatskaya, very interesting to see Oksana Yatskaya, the 27-year-old Kazakh, who has been steadily improving. One of many of these women who actually took part in the Universiade Games. And here we get an idea of the lineup here. Marit Björgen coming up there to regain the advantage.
Still in head of Yatskaya from Kazakhstan. We are a little bit impressed of both men and women, especially from Kazakhstan.
Yeah, she competed in the double pursuit in Pragelato, the dress rehearsal for next year's Olympics, finished in the top 20 there, and was also 17th in the double pursuit in Val di Fiemme. So there is a guideline to form, and I was going to say, like quite a few of the women in today's race took time off just after the new year to ski in the Universiade there, and had a pretty decent fifth place finish in the 5-kilometer freestyle. So Björgen leading back after this. Has dropped down to 20 seconds off the pace. It's still Yatskaya up front with Marit Björgen. In picture there, Kristina Smegen, the defending world pursuit champion.
40 seconds behind.
And that's a worrisome gap there. Sarah Renner from Canada. But the good news for Canada is that Bекki Scott still strong in the leading group. Malahova, who had such a good race also for Kazakhstan, will improve on the second leg when they go to freestyle, but struggling at the moment.
And we can also see that Marit Björgen together with Baranova Mazolkina from Russia and also Yatskaya from Kazakhstan, they have a bigger and bigger gap to the others here in the steep uphills on the second round of the classical technique. She's trying and trying, Marit Björgen, but she will not get the gap she wants after the classical.
Just taking a bit off number 47. That's Mijam Soklic of Slovenia, who's decided to call it a day, finding these uphills too punishing. And that's a really disappointment when you prepare so hard, so long.
But it will be big gaps here in the uphill in the second round. And Marит Björgen is going very, very hard.
She's ahead of Baranova, the 29-year-old Russian, formerly known as Mazalkina. Great junior, and it's taken a time for her to really show what she can do in terms of the senior race, but she's the only racer at the moment, Inge, who's keeping pace with Marит Björgen.
Yeah, and she is also a good skater.
And Lars Rocha from Switzerland also out of the competition, and this is very surprising. There's Björgen just behind in third place there, Oksana Yatskaya, and just beginning to struggle a little bit.
Yeah, and it's not that far away to the others. I think it is between 5 and 10 seconds to the group number 2.
As you see these two in picture here, Björgen and Baranova, Inge, different styles.
Yeah, they are using the upper body more, the Russian girls. They are very strong in the upper part of the body, but Marит Björgen is also almost the same as the Russian. That's been the strength for the Russian for all years. They're going a little bit otherwise, as you say, David.
And Nойманова has got herself out of the traffic problems, and you can see Nойманова there probably in about, 1, 2, 3, 4, share of 5th place at the moment, and 63 in some distress there. That's Teodora Maltseva of Bulgaria, and this is a horrible sight when you've prepared so hard, you've looked forward to a race, and it's just too tough, and yet another one.
But I don't think that's that interesting to see the bad, excuse me, David, but the bad skiers going out of the track. It's more important what happened in the front. It's also very important what happened behind the 3 first. Where is Chepalova? Where is Nojmanova? That's interesting before the skating start.
Yeah, Zabielova cruising along as well. Certainly going to play a part in this, I have a feeling, Olga Zabielova for Russia. And remember, when they come back into the stadium, they go into the pits and then change their skis. And interesting on this very warm day to see liquid being taken on board already.
More and more also in shorter competitions.
Marит Björgen getting a useful gap.
I think this is a little longer behind.
Yeah.
It's from number 4 to number 8, 9.
So after this, remember it's 7,500 meters, so they've still got 2,500 meters to do. Baranova, Chepalova.
But this is interesting. Chepalova is only 6 seconds behind the leader, and she is maybe the best in the skating.
Becki Scott, the Olympic pursuit champion, just a couple of seconds ahead of Katerina Nojmanova. Paruzzi also in there, the best for Italy. And Kunzel, actually, despite all the problems, and Jochen Belli was not optimistic about her chances, up there, and Hilda Pedersen 28 seconds to find ahead of the young Pole, Kowalczyk and Kukina, who had that strong start, just slipping back, and Skofterud beginning to make her presence felt for Norway.
Also Shevchenko from Ukraine, one of the favorites. And still not Schmigel.
Now Schmigen clearly in trouble here.
Here she is. Maybe she will get out of the track sheet too. It seems like, yes.
Yeah, Christina Smigen, who before she won the world title in Val di Fiemme, said that this was not really a race that she thought she would enjoy, and nonetheless went through to win the world title in Italy, but it's not going to be a happy day or a defence, and this is not a good start to the championships for Christina Smigen from Estonia. And the front two, they really are opening up now. Björgen and Baranova on the charge, and that's a healthy advantage, Inge.
Yeah, it is, and maybe it's the gap is big enough for Björgen compared with Chepalova, but she's coming. Chepalova is coming.
The interesting thing for Chepalova is she was absolutely gutted, in tears, in losing the gold medal by just 1.2 seconds to Katarina Nойманова, and you could sense that she's channeling that controlled anger into her run. Then Chepalova, even though she's probably 7 or 8 seconds off the pace now, is such a good freestyle skater. As long as she can keep these two in her sights.
So she is the big favorite at the moment.
Right, so as they're coming down towards the stadium now, Inge, this is the all-important changeover. Now, changing over, it's really important to do this in a controlled, sensible way.
You can lose a lot of seconds if you're going a little bit too fast into the pit stop. We call it a pit stop. They don't stop it. It's a pit like in the Formula 1. And they have to also take the head with them. Suddenly you can lose up to 10 seconds doing something wrong in the pit stop.
So it's not as extreme as the biathletes when they come into the stadium to get ready for shooting.
But a little bit the same.
But you need to bring your heart rate down, control yourself so that you efficiently change equipment.
And you also have a work to do before the start of the competition. Where are my skis? Where do I have to go? In what way shall I do it?
So what are they going to change now as they come into the pits?
Both the skis and the poles, they go with poles 10 centimeters shorter than in classical technique, and also the skis are down to 177, 182.
And Julia Chepalova,
20 centimeters shorter.
Julia Chepalova's done a great job here in third place, pit stop. Marit Björgen in there and running, and Baranova. Now this is the management.
4.1 second is Chepalova behind. Parucci also good in this first classical technique.
And remember, the Italians, they've had a 1-2, Pietro Pilacoccia and his roommate, Fulvio Valbuza. And Björgen, very efficient, getting out there, but it's not necessarily a demanding lead, a commanding lead, but look at the others. She has been, of the first three, she's been the most efficient.
Yeah, the Russian had no good pit stop. But the pit time for Julia Chepalova was 2.2 of a second better than Marit Björgen. I couldn't believe that because I thought the lap was a little bit bigger.
Into the pits there, that's Hilda Pedersen in that characteristic white hat, the mother of twins, 40 years of age, but so disappointing not to race in the 10-kilometer freestyle. And Hilda Pedersen, who's in cracking form, Inge.
Yeah, but she's a half a minute behind Marit Björgen after the classical. She should be 15 seconds in front.
Now they're going out for 3.75 meters again. They've got to do it twice, but this time they're going out onto the Zimmeroy track, and this, Inge, is very different to the steep climbs of the Burgstall.
Yeah, more flat. They have the steep uphill just after 100 meters, but that's only a couple 100 meters long. Then we have a flat part of the course, and then we have an uphill after 1.5 kilometers. But it's not that long as in the classical technique. So it's a much easier course.
So Marit Björgen, who won the Val di Fiemme World Cup pursuit earlier in the season, leads from Baranova. Chepalova, who has to be respected, the Olympic pursuit, fourth place for Chepalova, and she's only got 4 seconds to find. Gabriэлла Paruzzi, under 10 seconds off the pace of the leaders, and then the Olympic pursuit champion Becki Scott from Canada travelling with Gabriэлlla Paruzzi, and Oksana Yatskaya, who showed up so well early on, well, she's got 10 seconds to find. And Claudia Kunzel, who's one of the great finishers, Claudia Kunzel, if Kunzel is feeling better and better, then she can take a part in this. She's been 9th and 3rd in the 2 World Cup races coming into these championships, and Nойманова 20 seconds behind the leaders. So this was a replay of Julia Chepalova coming in to change her skis, and Chepalova in terms of change time in the pits,
She was number 6. She was 1.6 of a second behind Lassila from Finland, was the best one.
So, at the half distance, this is the order you can see on your screens there. Claudia Kunzel, Katarina Nojmanova, Steyra, who was successful in Pragelato, the dress rehearsal for the Olympics, the Norwegian. And up front, Björgen.
And they are going together, she and Chepalova.
And there's the pit time that Inge was referring to. Hilda Pedersen pretty quick, Claudia Kunzel impressive. And what would that be? That would be about 30 metres gap here, Inge, between the front two and the next three.
It's the Baranova Masolkina that can't have the same speed as Björgen and Chepalova. I think that this will be a fight between Chepalova and Marит Björgen.
But also don't rule out Parucci and Becky Scott.
The best for Becky Scott this season, I think.
Becky Scott, who really didn't come into World Cup action until after the turn of the year. And she was a winner of no less than 5 NORAM titles over in North America in December. That's where she made her preparation. And Becky Scott, now 30 years of age, who splits her time between Canmore in Canada and Bend in Oregon.
But she lost 5 seconds, David, at the pit time, Becky Scott. She was almost 5 seconds slower than the others.
So here we are, 9,000 metres, so still 6,000 metres to go. And Becky Scott, wearing 19, leading the chase here. And she's got to find 9 seconds. Paruzzi with a Baranova slipping off the pace now. This is where we're looking for 1 or 2 to come from behind, particularly where is Nojmanova, 18, that's Yatskaya, still just keeping herself in the race, looking for at least a World Championship PB in the double pursuit. Kunzel losing time.
Yeah, lost 9 seconds, Kunzel, but Steyra 1 second faster than Björgen Chepalova.
And Steyra very impressive in Pragelato on the high altitude trails, tough trails, so maybe Steyra can close up.
And also in this steep uphill, her weight is not more than 45 kilos, so this is no problem for her.
6 going through, is that was Kowalczyk going through with Shevchenko. But Julia Chepalova, this is fascinating because here you've got a woman up front who is the reigning world sprint champion, and the woman behind her is the Olympic sprint champion from Salt Lake City. These days, Julia Chepalova doesn't really rate herself too much as a sprinter, but she's going to stay in behind Björgen. I think she's going to make Björgen do all the work and just feel the pressure all the way. The real question is whether this little group, Becky Scott wearing the red hat, Paruzzi just behind in the white hat for Italy, Baranova just dropping off the pace, not so proficient in the freestyle skate. And this is a tantalising gap that Becky Scott is trying to close.
They're going very fast, both Scott and Paruzzi. They're not losing anything to the two in front.
But this is a very quick trail today, even under these very warm temperatures. And I think the problem for Becky Scott and Paruzzi is because Julia Chepalova is right on Marит Björgen's tail. Marит Björgen is actually at maximum.
Yeah, and why is she going in front? Why couldn't Chepalova be in the front instead of Marит Björgen? I don't think Marит Björgen will get the gap to Chepalova before the finish line. But also, David, very important is what about the glide down to the stadium after the half lap of the skating technique? I think that's very important to watch.
It'd be nice when we see next time perhaps Inge, a little contrast in styles between the way you ski classic and the way you ski freestyle. Paruzzi just getting ahead there of Becky Scott.
Yeah, it's more strength you need when you're doing the skating. That's also why the skaters are training the classical technique a lot.
And Parucci realising that she's got to get going now. Of course, Gabriэлlla Parucci, one of the stalwarts of the women's Italian squad, last year's World Cup champion. But of course, today is all about World Championship medals, and they are looking to me as if they're just closing on the front too.
No doubt about that. No doubt about that. It's only 4 or 5 seconds now.
And Parucci, of course, the Olympic gold medalist in Salt Lake City, over 30,000 meters, but that was, of course, in classic style. In the World Championships, no individual medals, relay bronze and silver, but Parucci, hungry in her 35th year to get that elusive individual gold medal.
And I think this steep uphill, just you can see them now, will be the most important in the second lap. We saw the Nordic combine in the same uphill yesterday. Marит Björgen have to try to do it there, but now it's Chepalova.
Yeah, Chepalova deciding that she thinks that
she's going away.
Yeah, she's deciding that Marит Björgen's only got one pace and one gear, and Chepalova, who would have been reading the body language of Marит Björgen from behind, and has decided to go. Now, there are 2 reasons why she's decided to go. One, the body language of Marит Björgen. Secondly, the information she's getting from her coaches on the side there about the progress of Parucci and Scott.
Yeah. That's what Chepalova heard, I think. So it was a little bit too slow in the leading group.
And interesting there that Nojmanova and Kunzel are travelling together.
And also Steyra. They were together also last time. It was Perseus start, Steyra and Nojmanova.
So into the stadium comes Julia Chepalova, coached by her father, Anatoly. They're very much a team that do their work separately from the Russians. 28 years of age. Greatest early claim to fame coming in Nagano when she was almost omitted from just about every race, but then they put her into the 30k race, the freestyle skate there, and she took gold, and from that moment she was one of the world stars in this sport. Now look at the gaps there. Björgen with a 12-second advantage over Parucci and Scott. Baranova slipping back, but how far are Nojmanova and Steyra? 25 seconds. So to get to Björgen, they've got to find about 20 seconds.
Yeah, but up to the bronze medal, it's only 10 seconds.
Yatskaya slipping back there. Lassila likewise. Pedersen has clearly not got what it takes today, Inge. To 44 seconds off the pace now for Hilda Pedersen. It's not going to be a medal, I'm afraid.
It's more and more. But what about the steep uphill? They are starting off the 100 meter. Will the gap from Chepalova be even bigger?
Well, out they go on the last 3. So here we are with Julia Chepalova opening up a wider margin here over Marит Björgen, who, Inge, looks as if she's getting a little tired now.
She's struggling. The technique is not that good as it was in the start of this skating lap. I think she did too much in the classical technique, Marит Björgen. But we also know that Chepalova is the best skater in the world when she is in good shape.
And you saw the little graphic there telling you that the gap is virtually 75 meters between Julia Chepalova of Russia, who was 8th and 5th in the 2 double pursuit World Cup races, the build-up races to these World Championships, and has made no secret that she's been preparing solely for the World Championships here in Oberdorf. And Chepalova looking very strong, and now from here, Inge, she really won't want to let this go.
What's interesting here, David, is can Marит Björgen keep the gap to Becki, Scott and to Paruzzi? I don't think anybody can do anything with Chepalova. She's in very good shape, like in the Salt Lake City 3 years ago.
Yeah, the Olympic champion in 98, over 30 kilometers in freestyle, the sprint champion in 2002.
But it seems that the gap from Björgen to the others is also bigger.
Björgen has
She's more standing between the skis in that uphill, more than Olga Chepalova. So the kick is not that good as for Chepalova.
Now closing on Becky Scott and Gabriэлlla Parucci, and I think it's Steyra who's getting up there with them.
Together with Nojmanova.
Together with, I didn't see Nojmanova, but she can't be far behind. But here comes the woman from Moscow. And not everybody who's a great junior fulfills their promise at senior level, but Chepalova's certainly one. And now we're going to get a really interesting time check with 2.25 kilometers left at this point here for Julia Chepalova. A little less now. Marит Björgen 13 seconds down.
But Steyra is in the third place.
Steyra, who's come on really strong. And it's... just looking there, Steyra just going through in the foreground. The camera actually missed her there. Steyra has taken Paruzzi and Becky Scott, the Olympic champion, and Nojmanova at the moment not making an impression. Here's Katarina Nojmanova, who's catching Baranova very quickly, but it doesn't look to me as if she's got enough snow left here to get a bronze medal.
Steyra has been 3 seconds faster than Julia Chepalova from the passing stadium.
Well, this is quite a run from Kристin Steyra, born in the very north of Norway. The winner this year, as I said, of the Pragelato double pursuit there. A really tough course there. She was very impressive. Only 23 years of age, and a skier with a great deal to offer, and showed her best form before she had that victory in Ramsau when she was runner-up over 15 kilometers in December. And Steyra maybe a little bit of a threat to Björgen, but at the moment it's Russia, Norway, Norway.
Yeah, but I think the gap from Björgen to Steyra is too big. We have one more steep uphill, but she is coming more and more.
Look at the tempo of Kристin Steyra. She's got the bit between her teeth. And also Steyra will be well aware that she doesn't want to give a chance to any of those behind. When she made the break, she had to make it decisively, and she's looking at Marит Björgen's back and wondering whether she can get that close. Björgen will always have a little bit extra on that downhill, and remember, she's a great sprinter. If it comes to a sprint between her and Steyra to the line, don't rule out Marит Björgen. Chepalova out on her own.
Yeah, she's very strong, and will Chepalova be in the sprint in a couple of days? She's the winner, as you told, from the Olympics, but she had done no sprint after that.
Not necessarily. The view we got from the Russians was that she was going to concentrate, probably go into the team freestyle sprint, because this year the sprint is in classic, so I don't think we'll see Julia Chepalova in the individual sprint, but I think we'll see her in the team, and she'll definitely, of course, be in the relay. But a silver medal, a gold one beckoning, and if I look at the record of Julia Chepalova in the World Championships, well, before the silver the other day, she's got a bronze in the sprint in 2001 in Lahti, and a gold with the Russian team in the relay, but that's it. So this medal will be extremely important to Julia Chepalova.
And here we have the last uphill.
And Marит Björgen just getting a second win now. Chepalova, she's going to be pressed, I think. She knows, and her coaches will know, that Chepalova's got to go full out maximum.
But what about the gap between those two?
Well, Steyra, the camera angle is actually a bit deceptive.
Yeah, it's more that we see here.
It's foreshortening. But this is a really hard trail, and just 650 meters to go for Julia Chepalova. But I tell you what, the legs are getting really tired now.
It's more speed in Marит Björgen at the moment. But it's more than 10 seconds. She cannot manage it.
They're both desperate to get to the top of this little last
David. That's the most fresh girl at the moment.
Yeah, Kристin Steyra challenging, and Steyra has got 8 seconds to find on teammate Marit Björgen. And look at this, moving up into 4th place now. Paruzzi weakening, can't do any more. And Becky Scott goes back into 4th place, then Paruzzi, and on the charge, Baranova getting back into the race, and then Nойманова. But here comes Julia Čepalova, down with just about 120 metres to go. Silver, just 48 hours ago in the women's 10-kilometre freestyle, in tears, beaten by just 1.2 seconds by the Czech Republic's Kateřina Nojmanova. But here comes the first individual gold medal for the girl with the brightest smile on the whole of the tour. Julia Čepalova is world champion over the double pursuit, and here comes Marit Björgen into silver medal position here, being pursued by Kристин Steyr, but the cushion is great enough for Marit Björgen. And Čepalova, a very speedy downhill. Björgen made nothing on the downhill descent, and Kристин Steyr, what a success, Inge, for her to get a World Championship medal at the age of 23.
Yeah, and she is only better and better for every race.
Nobody wants to finish 4th, but I'm afraid Becky Scott, the Olympic pursuit champion, she's claimed that place ahead of Paruzzi in 5th, Baranova in 6th, who I'm really impressed with how she lost her position but then stabilised and counter-attacked, and Nojmanova 7th, but 48 seconds separating, and Čepalova, well, she always reckons that she should be on the top step of every race she enters. And it's a wonderful day for her.
And then Lassila and Kуркина from Russia, number 8 and number 9, and Kunzel, number 10.
Yeah, that's a very good race for Claudia Kunzel when you consider the disruption to her preparation with flu and the disruption that causes. To finish 10th is not bad at all. She's the number 1 for the host nation. Hilda Pedersen, 1 minute 23 seconds back. I have to say I'm a little disappointed by that.
3-2.
But what a battle we're going to have in the relay. Norway with a pretty good team, Russia with a good team, and also Germany, who've been champions at the major championships. So that's going to be a terrific race.
Yeah, and maybe also Finland when they have Koitunen back.
Yeah, I think the worry is, Inge, and you would know about this, when you've been out for a race or even 2 races, there's uncertainty.
Yeah, but relay is a little bit otherwise than individual competition. So I think Koitunen can be good both in the sprint and in the relay for Finland.
Well, if you backed Julia Čepalova, she was on offer at 8-1, which now looks pretty generous. The odds ahead of Marit Björgen, 2-1, and Steyr, well, if you'd gone for a place, 51-1, the bookmakers' odds there. So if you didn't take an interest today, well, maybe take an interest in the men's double pursuit tomorrow. Just a little bit of fun whilst you're sitting at home watching the race.
And maybe Steyra was a little bit too much slow at the classical technique. Maybe she didn't know how strong she was today.
Well, she certainly was strong in Progelato in the double pursuit there, but it's a learning curve for her. But to come here and get a bronze medal, that is simply fantastic.
And a very good motivation for the Olympics next year.
Yes, providing she stays fit and well, then she's almost booked her ticket today. And just talking about that, 1 or 2 people often wonder, because this is such a good sport for fitness, for your cardiovascular system. Inge, 1 or 2 people out there wondering how you get started. So what would be your first step if you wanted to take up this, not as necessarily as a competitor, but just somebody for leisure?
It's more easy to go to classical technique than to do the skating technique. So I will say that start when it's 5-0 below 0 and good. You can have a good kick.
So 3 very happy women. You just saw Christina Steyr there with her coach.
Yeah, her coach, and that's very important also to have the coach near to come with the congratulations just after the run. So Samdal, the coach for the Norwegian, is very, very proud. I think today he was very nervous before the start, maybe more nervous than ever in his life. We also have to say that
that's lovely.
That's lovely. That's Scott's. She was number 16 today, and it's also very important for Steyra to go together with Scott and say that next time it can be you instead of me. Dag Haas, the former trainer for the national team in Norway, also have a finger with Steyra.
Well, a very interesting race on 2 very different tracks, but this is the woman. She wears number 2, but actually she finishes number 1. At 28 years of age, Julia Chepalova is world individual champion in the double pursuit. This is only the 3rd time the double pursuit has been contested in the World Championships. The first one in 2001 was won by Verpi Koitinen. That was over 10 kilometres, 5 kilometres and 5 kilometres in the 2 disciplines. In 2003 it was Christina Smegen who ran into the wall today and had to pull out. I'm sure it wasn't anything to do with her fitness. I think it was simply up in her head, but we'll try to talk to her and find out exactly what went wrong with Christina. She had a very slow start. She lost a lot of time in the classic section, and I think the heart went out of her, and that suggests that she didn't have the clear, strong mental approach that you need, whatever the race, whatever the distance, whatever the style.
And like it will be next year, David, the classical course is very, very heavy. It will also be that in the Olympics next year, so we can split all the girls and the men after the classical technique.
So the standings at the finish: Julia Chepalova gold, Marit Björgen silver, Christina Steyr for Norway also in bronze, Becky Scott the best for Canada, the Olympic pursuit champion in 4th, the best Italian Gabriella Paruzzi 38 seconds off the pace, and then Baranova fighting back to hold on to 6th place ahead of Nойманова, the heroine of 48 hours ago in the women's 10-kilometre freestyle. Then Rийta-Lийsa Lassila, the best for Finland, a better day for her. Kurkina, who showed up early, then faded, then came back again, ahead of Claudia Kunzel, who finishes in 10th place. And after that, Hilda Pedersen, a disappointing 11th. Yatskaya, who was a real force to be reckoned with in the classic phase, finishing ahead of Justina Kowalczyk. And then Germany's Viola Bauer in 14th place. Shevchenko for the Ukraine down in 15th, but a minute and 48 seconds off the pace, ahead of Vibeke Skofterud, with Sabina Valbuza 2 minutes off the pace. And a very disappointing second leg, the freestyle leg from Savialova, 2 minutes down in 18th. Confortola, who fell earlier on, finishing 19th for Italy. And then France's Aurélie Storti, the best for her nation, in 20th, 2 minutes and 20 seconds off the pace. After that, Malahova, the woman who finished in the top 10 in the 10-kilometre freestyle, down in 21st place. The best for Sweden, Maria Rydqvist, and the Swedes have got real problems, haven't they?
Both for the women and especially for the men. And I talked with Thomas Vosberg. He was only 17 seconds from 4 gold medals here in 87 in Obерstdorf. They can't understand anything what they have done wrong.
But 2 racers to take note of, as you see people still finishing. Wang Chunli of China in 27th place, and Hongshu Li of China in 29th place.
They are coming.
The Chinese are coming, but Julia Chepalova is very much here today. Hope you've enjoyed the action of this women's double pursuit. The men go tomorrow, but remember, we've got more to come today. The men's individual 90-metre hill competition, that's this afternoon live on Eurosport. But it's Julia Chepalova in gold, Marit Björgen and Christine Steyr second and third, silver and bronze, and then the unlucky woman perhaps, Becky Scott, in 4th place. Inge, enjoyed it?
Of course, it was a very exciting race, and I also hope we will have the same tomorrow for the men.
Well, we're going to move very shortly from the Reed cross-country stadium. About 10-15 minutes it takes to move across to the hill, to the Schuttenberg Schanze, for this afternoon's ski jumping, and we'll have the trial jump as well as the main competition for you on the 90-metre hill. Remember, Adam Mawish, the champion for the past 2 seasons, looking for a hat-trick, but Jani Ahonen looking ominously good yesterday in the qualification round. For now, from Inge Bratten and myself, David Goldstrom, have a good afternoon. Stay with us for the ski jumping. We'll be back later. For now, bye-bye from Oberstdorf.